another question here from Jana, who's wondering what is the typical product manager interview like?
Yeah, so it can vary. I've had a few over my career. You could have 5. I've had upwards of 10 different interviews. It depends on what the company wants to do. You'll talk from not just the hiring manager, but you'll talk to other stakeholders, engineering, product management, excuse me, IT, things of that nature. So there's a couple of different things. The interviewer is going to, who the interviewer is going to kind of dictate the type of questions that you'll get. But one thing that I've seen consistently is questions around critical thinking, what problems you faced and how you would go about solving them. Some companies will actually give you homework assignments to go off and demonstrate how you think through solving a problem. The other one is that's real important to understand is almost everybody will ask you about conflict resolution. So something that's happened in your experience in what you've done. So the ways to look at that is the best thing you can do, and the answer here is be very brief and to the point. So understanding, kind of look at it in 3 kind of sections, if you will, in conflict resolution is a situation, what the situation was, the action, what action you took, and what the result was. That's very common to understand, and that's you'll always get questions. All your interviewers will ask you about your experience. Some of them may or may not have taken the time to look through LinkedIn or resume or things like that. But they'll also ask questions that kind of the undertone being personality. So just asking questions about cultural or how you interact with your peers and all, just to understand, because you could be the smartest person in the world. And if there's a kind of a perception of incompatibility or as far as personality goes in a particular company's culture, that could be a red flag. So that's generally what we see. So the other thing too that you have to remember in these, that before you go into an interview, excuse me, make sure you understand what the company is doing and some of at least the macro trends, because they will want you to have an understanding of the specific market there, and rather than just general product management experience, but show that you understand and have done some homework around what the company does and how the market trends might impact them.
Okay, then yeah, that makes sense, and that's really good advice. And I think actually that would apply, I would say, to any company. You always want to do some research on the company and make sure you really show that you've done some research and and are really interested in finding more about the company you're interviewing for.
Yeah, go ahead. Dude, I was just going to say, I was going to kind of reiterate, excuse me, what you said about what High Counselor does. If you can get, particularly if you're more of entry level out of college, interview preps are key, because you talk to people that go through interviews and they can ask questions, and there's specific ways that you're going to want to answer them. So that sort of access to resources for interview prep is essential.
Thank you, David. Let's see, looks like we got another question here from Claudia. She's wondering if product managers typically focus just on the technical aspects of developing products.
No, it's much more than that. I'll say it depends a lot, because it depends on the product and all, but on how technical it is. But you got to understand the technical aspects of it so that you can have intelligent conversations with engineering and with sales engineers and other folks. But it's really, business is a big part of it. At the end of the day, the idea is to make money by solving problems for your customers. So a lot of it's focused on the main focus really is on understanding the market trends and the problems that you're trying to solve, understanding, kind of breaking down the segmentations in the market and creating a really solid strategy around what it is you want to go do. And obviously there are financial aspects of that too. So the technical aspects to me are kind of more fun, talking about that stuff, but the business side is really fascinating as well. So it's kind of a split between, like I said, it'll depend on the type of product that you own. Cybersecurity, you have to be very technical, just like I said, or be able to communicate with engineering. And when you're talking to customers, the customers will always have the more technical folks in there because they're the ones that use your product. So you have to stay sharp on the technical side. That's really what makes product management so cool, is the mix of technical and business.
And is there like one that's more predominant than another on a day-to-day basis? It sounds like it would be more business than technical.
It is more business, and it depends on where you are in your product life cycle. So if you've got a legacy product that's kind of hanging out there, you're dealing with more of day-to-day helping prioritize bugs to work on, or platform support, or more inbound things on the product. But then when you're talking about newer products where you're setting the strategy, yeah, you spend a lot of time making sure that your strategy is, you're solving the problem you want to solve. You have a solid strategy and a solid plan to execute that. So yeah, and you're also responsible for obviously the P&L and the products, which means you're heavily involved in the pricing, which has competitive analysis tied in there, but you're also responsible for reporting to like quarterly business reviews, or maybe even something more frequent, where you're going to talk about the business aspects, like financially, how's it performing, customer experience, things of that nature. So yeah, I would agree that it's more focused on the business side.
So in that case, then a follow-up question. So for someone who comes from a technical background, then it sounds like in that case, if someone wants to really continue learning more technical stuff, that's probably not going to happen, right?
You can. So I'm lucky enough to be able to stay really technical, but there is a lot of business side to it, but it's not just technical. So depends on the organization, but there are roles called technical product managers, technical marketing engineers, that help the product manager focus on solving the problem and all, but are more skewed towards the technical side. So more interaction with implementation. The engineering is suggesting more technical conversations with customers, creating content for training. So there is a track on that side. Like I said, it's either a TPM or a TME, that the names are different, but most companies have separate tracks. If you want to be in PM, but still focus more on the technical side, that's available.